Hi, I'm Milda, and I'll walk you through our case study, which assessed the usefulness and impact of added explainability features in legal document summarization. The background for this study was that as part of editorial process, using one of the Thomson Reuters legal editorial tools, our editors have to summarize allegations made by the plaintiffs based on long court case text documents. So, to support them, we've developed a text summarization solution. This was a deep learning model, a pointer generator network, and from the evaluations of the model, we've concluded that this should be a human-in-the-loop solution where the editors have to verify each summary. However, what we heard was that the editors felt they still needed to look at an entire court case to be able to verify the summary. So, in this work, we've researched if we could support the editors by adding explainability features to the summary review process. Namely, would explainability help to reduce time spent on validating the summary, and if it could help to increase editors' trust in the AI system. The two methods we've experimented with were attention vector approach, which used the attention scores produced by the model at the time of prediction to show which parts within the input text did the model pay attention to while generating the summary. This results in different intensity of text highlights, where darker blue means more attention and lighter blue means less. We named this attention highlights. The second method was the source attribution approach, which is a model-independent heuristic to identify one or more sentences in the input text which the summaries language primarily comes from. So here, the text either had an influence on the summary or it didn't, which is why we have only one shade of blue, and we called this the source highlights. So we had 2 rounds of testing in total with 2 editors, and this was a within subject study. In round 1 of testing, both editors had to work with a web interface resembling their actual tool with no highlights and with attention highlights. For the experiment outline, both editors were timed in the background as they reviewed the summaries. They both were exposed to highlights and no highlights condition, which was followed by an interview. And the key thing was that even though they were both exposed to both conditions, they never saw the same case twice, and we always had a control for a highlighted case. In the second round of testing, the experiment outline was essentially the same. The editors had to work with no highlights, and they also had to work with an interface which had source highlights. Now, for the results, we've learned that the editors were significantly faster in reviewing the summaries with attention highlights. However, the effect of source highlights on their performance in terms of saving time was a lot less clear. And from the interviews, we learned why. So after working with the source highlights, the editors have said, do I just stress that one section that was highlighted? It doesn't feel like I've done my full job as a reviewer. However, the attention highlights and the different shades of blue it had gave them a sense that the system did look at the whole case. So even if it got it wrong, it made them trust it more. Now, in terms of how the highlights were used, the source highlights were primarily used as a way to get to the area of the document where the key details relevant to the summary might be. However, they were not always there. Whereas attention highlights did take them to the area of the document where the key details of the summary were. And further to this, it also gave them the information which they sometimes chose to add to summary, in addition to what was already there. Furthermore, the editors have said that attention highlights one time has helped them realize that the AI system has made some incorrect conclusions about the case and helped them correct this. Based on our research, we've concluded that explainability can create measurable benefits in terms of saved time. Well-chosen explainability method can enrich interactions between AI system and the user. However, not all methods to enable explainability are equal in the benefits they create, and for that reason, explainability methods should be designed to task